And now for my conspiracy theories, because you guys asked for it. I'm actually going to put a tinfoil hat on for this one. We know nutrient quality of fruits and veggies has been on the decline for decades now. Dr. William Albrecht was actually showing this nearly 100 years ago. And while there are many causes, not limited to our absolute destruction of topsoil due to monocropping, there is a lot to be said about how humans have tried to hack nutrition, nature, and diets. As processed food has increased, the vitamins and minerals in them has decreased. So we increase the synthetic vitamin consumption, which could be a whole video on its own. So this begs the question, how will they add micronutrients to lab-grown meat?
The health aspects of it, I think, are not, that's not really the interesting question. It really is, can it be, made sustainable? Can the cost be driven down? Right. Things of that nature.
If you have ever heard the term grass-fed or grain-fed, the reason that those matter is because it impacts the nutrient quality of the meat that you're eating. I'm inclined to believe that what scientists will do, however, is the synthetic vitamin approach, assuming that they're able to add any micronutrients at all, which, according to this phenomenal article from 2020, is unlikely with our current technology. I wish I found that article at the beginning of this, by the way, because it answered so many questions. If we take the low nutrient quality conspiracy to its endpoint, it's worth asking about organ meats as well, due to the sudden resurgence as part of a healthy diet thanks to how packed they are with micronutrients. Why is there no effort to recreate these? See, most people think of meat as just muscle, which is somewhat true. Lab-grown meat grows as more of a goop, though. They call it cell slurry.
I call our product Little Lisa's patented animal slurry.
They spread it out on these thin sheets to give it a meat-like shape, but they aren't able to recreate blood vessels, tendons, ligaments, nerves, and fat cells.
Interestingly, under the law, no blood can be there, and generally no bone. For us, it was breaking that down to figure out what makes meat tasty, what makes meat meat.
This is one of the reasons that you only see chicken nuggets and ground beef. Like I said, it's already mush. But all of these missing components are highly nutritious factors about meat that we're going to be missing out on, and we don't know what that means for our diet. Another worry is, did you know processed and boxed foods were at one time only for the wealthy? Who's the primary consumer of them now, though? People in poverty. This is called democratization. Designer foods, much like everything, begin immediately with the wealthy, who try it out, they test it out, and eventually it finds its way down to those in poverty, the same way that you see homeless people with cell phones now. And as a tangent, you might be surprised to learn that most wealthy people severely limit not only their own phone time, but also their children's. It makes you think, right? If it does become affordable, will lab meat be yet another nutritionally devoid, harmful thing left over to people who don't know or just can't afford better? With one of the claims about lab meat being the clean nature of it, as opposed to the often antibiotic-ridden factory farms, what will stop these bioreactors from becoming just massive breeders of antibiotic-resistant superbacteria? Next, we have cancer. According to this patent from the early 2000s, the cells in the growing process is similar to that of cancer cells. They, in theory, grow as long as the habitat is conducive and the nutrients are still provided. The reason that worries me is there has been a bro science belief out there for years that eating animals that were pumped full of growth hormone would make you get bigger, and it turned out that that was mostly true. Of course, hormones ingested don't discriminate to just our muscles. And while I'm not making an absolute claim here, this is something we are not going to have answers for several years, if not decades. And I think that is a major cause for concern, and I wonder if the transparency around this is even going to exist. Okay, I have to tighten my tinfoil hat for this one a little bit. When lab meat is fully commercialized, what is going to happen is people will start making content about it. Not like this, they're going to be trying it out and remarking on the taste, and this has already begun.
This is chicken.
That's chicken.
Like it's a crunchy, normal piece of chicken.
I'm eating chicken.
A few years are going to go by, and the government will cherry pick some data and show that lab meat is in fact, better for us. And it's great for the environment. I know, it's a real stretch saying that the government would do something unethical or be corrupt. It would be a shame if you searched up my episode PFM 52 and watched my episode about the FDA. Anyway, they will use that as cause to block out the smaller farms or just price them out completely by subsidizing lab-grown meat. So real meat is going to become too expensive due to less farms being allowed to make it. Lab meat will become cheaper because of subsidizing real meat is going to have more taxes imposed on them, and raising animals is going to have more laws and regulations to make it harder. Sounds crazy, right? But we have already seen this happening in some states where they are banning having chickens in your backyard. Because of those price changes, the middle and lower class are going to be forced to buy lab meat. Then they're going to hit us with different brands of lab-grown meat to give us the illusion of choice. And finally, the government will have full control of our food.
Wonderful.
Man, if you thought that clip was crazy, wait till you hear the full context in this deep dive. Hit that top video right there, and I'll see you there.